What is going on, Jarvis Underground? Everyone out there, how are you all doing today? Welcome to this super awesome masterclass that I'm pumped to bring with you today with Zachariah here and John Livesay. He's going to be talking to us about storytelling and some really cool things when it comes to actually using your book and taking yourself and your platform to such another level. So Zachariah and John, thank you guys so much for coming on today. I'm super pumped for what we're about to dive into here.
As am I. I'm stoked to have John on with us today. And he is, I've seen this him speak before at Internet Marketing Party here in Austin and seen some of his other stuff and his books. So it is such an honor to have you on, John.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be here.
So if for those of you who don't know who John is, he's known as the Pitch Whisperer. He's a sales and keynote speaker where he shows companies, sales teams how to turn mundane case studies into compelling case stories so they win more new business. From John's award-winning career at Condé Nast, he shares the lessons he learned that turned sales teams into revenue rock stars. His TEDx talk, Be the Lifeguard of Your Own Life, has over 1 million views. John is a guest lecturer on how to leverage the power of storytelling and sales at multiple universities, including the University of Texas at Austin, Pepperdine, Graziadio, did I get that right? Business School, and University of Chicago Booth School of Business. And his book is now required reading for the UTLA, University of Texas in LA, course on entertainment and media studies. John, thanks for so much again, man.
All right, let's jump into the story. Oh, next slide, please. Several years ago, when I was selling advertising for Condé Nast at a fashion magazine, Speedo swimsuit company was in my territory. And I went to them and I said, hey, would you consider advertising this new sportswear line in my fashion magazine? And they said, no, we're going to advertise it in a fitness magazine. And I said 2 magic words. So for those of you who like to take notes, you might want to write this down. What if? When you start a sentence with what if, you get people in their imagination imagining something. It's a great way to handle a no. I said, what if we treated your sportswear like it was high fashion? And you could have a fashion show that we would help you put on with models wearing the sportswear around a swimming pool at a hotel and invite Michael Phelps since he's on your payroll during the Olympics. They loved the idea. I got the advertising, but more importantly, I got to ask Michael Phelps what makes him so unique and how does he stay in his own lane and not get so stressed out with all the competition and people, psyching him out, or maybe he doesn't win a gold medal and yet he has to shake that off and go to the next race and then turn around and win. So that mindset is everything. And I said, Michael, everyone says your feet are like fins and your lung capacity is bigger than the average human, but I'm guessing there's something else to your success besides that. And he goes, oh, yes, John. When I was very young, my coach said to me, Michael, are you willing to work out on Sundays? Yes, coach. Great. We just got 52 more workouts in a year. Now, the question is for all of you, what are you willing to do that your competition isn't to get you at that Olympic level? And for people who decide to work with me, I will sit down with you and help you figure out what you can do that your competition is not doing. Next slide, please. One of the other things you can take a look at is what are we willing to do that the competition hasn't even thought of doing? Recently, I moved to Austin and I hired a new place to come and clean my home. And I came back and I felt like I was on a cruise ship. They had made the towels into a little swan thing and fancy towel folding. And I thought, well, they didn't have to do that. It was an unexpected luxury. And it reminded me of when I worked with Banana Republic and they had wanted to redefine what luxury was. And they said, oh, we're going to let people in our flagship stores in San Francisco and New York come and charge the phone while they shop. Well, it turns out sales went up 15% because people kept charging, waiting for the phone to fully charge, and they kept shopping. So if you're looking for an edge to stand out against competition, whether you're a coach, a consultant, financial advisor or an author looking to supplement your coaching or speaking, you need some help to figure out, how can I be like Michael Phelps and do what others aren't? And how can I be like Banana Republic and even this simple cleaning service and go above and beyond what people are expecting? And I will help you customize something that's going to get you from just being seen as another coach or another financial advisor and get you laser focused for your ideal audience. Next slide. So I love helping people get in this concept of storytelling down. The old way of selling is to push out as much information as possible and hope some of it sticks. Well, that doesn't work anymore. The new way is to become a storyteller. Literally, the sale is in the tail, T-A-L-E. And for those of you who want to become authors and speakers, I know what that dream is. I know what it feels like to have that dream come true. And there's a line of people waiting in line for you to sign your book. So if this is something that you think you would like to experience, you're in the right place. Next slide. In fact, I had the honor of being interviewed by Larry King a couple of years ago before he passed away. This is something I never even dreamed of. You know, many of you may not know who he is, but he was on CNN and he's done over 60,000 interviews and interviewed presidents and every celebrity you can think of. I never dreamed that when I wrote a book, I'd get Larry King to interview me and hold it up like this, but it happened. How? That is a part of mindset. Relationships, your network is in fact your net worth. So I have a story of how that happened and how it can happen for you. Next. I also host a podcast called The Successful Pitch. It's heard in over 60 countries now, and it allows me to stay cutting edge with the kinds of thought leaders and authors and influencers I interview. And I'll show you, if you're interested in how to launch a podcast, to create your authority at another level, another thing that you can do to help yourself stand out against other people. Next. One of my clients is a coach, and he said he was so happy. He sent this video in our group. Oh my God, I just made $2,500. He was just starting out, so he wasn't charging $5,000 or $10,000 yet. He has since done that. And he just said, I just told the story of someone else I helped the way you taught me. And someone said, yes, right away. So when you tell stories, you tug at people's heartstrings, which gets them to open their purse strings. Next. One of my clients is someone named Drew, who's here in Austin. He's a financial advisor. And when you go through my course and my quizzes, everybody gets this certificate showing they've completed it. And when Drew came to me, he said, you know, I'm a financial advisor and there's a lot of people that are in this industry and, a lot of them are older than I am. And I said, let's figure out what your niche is. Turns out he loves to help young entrepreneurs between 25 and 45 who either got a lot of funding or sold their company and have a lot of money to invest and don't know where to start. And once we helped narrow that niche down, he said, John, when I get somebody who's got $1 million portfolio and they're only 35, I get a percentage of that managing their portfolio. And the lifetime value of that customer over the next 30 or 40 years is huge. So helping someone get big ticket items and big clients like this is one of my passions. Next. Rose is a coach. And she said, gosh, it gets so clunky when I'm talking to somebody about hiring me to be their coach. And I don't know what to say. And so I taught her how to tell a story in such a way that she doesn't have to feel pushy. She doesn't have to talk about all the details of how many modules she has. She gets the 3 C's. She was clear, she was concise and confident, and she got 2 clients in 1 week. And so I know this works. Next. So right now, some of you might feel like an ostrich. The concept of writing a book or getting out there and telling your story or social media, you just want to bury your head. Or next, you might feel like a peacock. And you just want to let everybody know you're still in business. And this, again, is a mindset concept. So just in the chat, this platform allows people to chat, yes? Is that correct? People can post it?
Yes, it does.
So just type in O or P. Let me see what you're feeling right now. Are you feeling like an ostrich, or are you feeling like a peacock? Because you are the movie director of your own life. You can yell cut. You can change the location, change who's in the movie with you. So many of us get in this fear mindset of, oh, what's the future going to be? And we play a horror movie out in our head. You can yell cut. Because if you start feeling, oh, there's a peacock, peacock's great. Because if you feel like an ostrich, you can change your mind and start, I'm going to be a peacock this afternoon, even if I wanted to stay in bed the rest of the night. Lots of peacocks. Great to see. Okay, Maurice, an ostrich is okay. You have the ability to change all that. All right. The big problem that I see that everyone has fallen into is the myth, next slide, that in order to get people to buy from you or hire you, they have to know, like, and trust you. Right? Next. Keep clicking. You can't imagine what this causes. This belief causes a behavior. Oh, well, you have to know me and my product and service before you hire me. Let me just keep pushing so much information out. Oh, let me send you one more email with some more facts. Now do you know enough to say yes? And people buy emotionally and back it up with logic. So we're going to reverse the order here. Is that, Mariah?
There we go.
Start with trust. It's a gut thing. In fact, the handshake was to show that we didn't have a weapon in our hand. Trust gets transferred. You guys trust Darby and Zachariah, so you showed up. When you build trust with eye contact, social proof, your gut says, oh, it's safe to open this email. It's safe to have a conversation. Then it goes from the gut to the heart. This is what people are thinking. Do I like you? Next. And that is where you have to show your empathy. The better you describe that you understand someone's pain or struggle or problem, the better they think you have their solution. So in the case of Darby and Zachariah, they totally understand the struggle that people who want to write a book have. It takes forever. I get stuck. I get writer's block. They've come up with an amazing artificial intelligence tool that allows you to fix all that. So the fact that you can describe the struggle that an author has, you've got someone's trust and likability, and then the next part is the head. Do I think this will work for me? Even if they trust and like you, but they don't see themselves in the story, they're not going to buy. So how do you get someone to feel like it's going to work for them? You show stories that are varied, like I've just done. You saw a story of Rose, who's a coach. You saw the story of Drew, who's a financial advisor. So on and on. You keep showing stories, and eventually one of those stories is going to resonate with somebody out there who's just like that person and say, oh, they were in the same struggle I was, and now their life is so much better. Next. So my promise to you today is, next, we're going to get you out of feeling like you're drowning in a sea of sameness. So next, many people feel like, how am I going to get out of feeling like I'm just a number? Or many people do what I do, I'm just a commodity. What you need is someone who is a storytelling lifeguard. Luckily for you, I was a lifeguard in real life, and now I have become a storytelling lifeguard that's going to save sales. If you're someone who's getting some great leads from webinars or LinkedIn or ads or referrals, and you're not getting people to say yes because you're not telling stories, we're going to fix that. A lot of people will say, I maybe talk to 10 people, but only 2 sign up. Let's double that. Let's get you to 4 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 without feeling pushy. Because when you tell a story, you pull people in and they want to go on the journey with you. Now, we all know that lifeguards save lives. I have a story of when I actually had to save a little girl from drowning. Next. But what I do now as the pitch whisperer is I help you save sales. That money you're leaving on the table because you're not telling a story that tugs at heartstrings, and perhaps your competition is something that I can help you fix. Next. Now, if you don't know how to tell a story, there's no logical reason why you would be confident. You're going to stumble through it. Next. But when you learn how to do it, things change. Now, again, if you tend to be somebody comfortable with left brain connects, numbers and facts, and I'm asking you to go to the right brain where imagination and storytelling live, it's going to feel a little awkward, kind of like if you fold your hands like this and then you try to fold it the other way, or fold your arms like you're mad and then try to put your arms on the other side. We all have a comfortable way of interacting with things. So if I'm going to invite you to start telling stories, it might feel a little awkward at first, but I'm here to help you every step of the way. What I offer is not a done by yourself program, but a done with me. Next. What happens when you don't have an emotional connection? Well, you bore people and they tune out. Next. But when you know exactly how to tell a story and you've got me as your Sherpa helping you refine it, you have confidence. You know that story is going to work and it's going to land. Next. Now, a lot of people get nervous. They say, oh my gosh, I get butterflies in my stomach. And I tell people the goal isn't to get rid of the butterflies in your stomach, but to get them to fly in formation. Get the nervous energy out of your stomach and into the room. Next. Nothing says confidence to me like Lady Gaga. Here she is at the Oscars singing from Sound of Music. And one of the exercises I have my clients do is we write down your moments of certainty. You write down 2 or 3 times when you knew you nailed something. You got a second date, you got a job you've always wanted, you got a big sale, and you write down the feeling that goes with it. When my clients do this, their confidence goes up. Not cockiness, not arrogance, confidence. Because they're remembering what it feels like when someone has helped. And that's how you reduce that negative self-talk or the monkey mind of this will never work, I'm not good enough, whatever. We all go through it. And I've got a tool that's going to help you reduce that noise. Next. There are basically 3 components on how you're going to increase your revenue. We first start by fixing your elevator pitch and turn it into something called an elevator story, where people are intrigued to want to know more. Next, we're going to walk through the process of once you're in a conversation with somebody, you're past the initial, who are you? Do I want to have a conversation with you? They're interested, and typically you present what you offer. Well, we're going to turn boring case studies that have been around forever into case stories. And then finally, I've got a tool that's going to give you some templates and scripts to make sure that you learn how to tell the right story to the right person at the right time so that you don't get stuck where people are just saying they're interested and they never take any action. The first part is we all need a good elevator pitch, or I call it an elevator story. It's so important that you can tell people who you help, what problem you solve in 60 seconds so that they can remember it. Maybe they don't need what you're offering, but boy, they know somebody who does. And if you've told them a story, they can remember it and repeat it and become your brand ambassadors. Think how many people you're meeting, you tell them what you do, but you tell it in such a way that's so dry, they go, oh, that's not for me. But if you tell it in a story format, then boom, someone's going to do it. I love that you like case stories over case studies. Just telling facts and figures is not enough to get people to want to do this. Let me give you an example. When Rose, who was working with women who were struggling with emotional eating, we crafted a story of a woman who named Maria, who was in her 30s and struggling with her weight her whole life, but now it was affecting her mood and her willingness to even go see friends. And so after working with Rose, she realized that the food was just a way to dial down the stress and the anxiety. And so instead of putting her on another diet that never worked, she started giving her other tools. Pick up the phone, let's take a walk, let's do all these things to get your mind distracted and rewire the neurons in your brain. And after working with Rose, Maria, the weight came off, but more importantly, she was happier and she didn't feel embarrassed to go out in public. She told that story, as you saw, to 2 other women who signed up on the spot because she told a case story that they saw themselves in it. Rose was not the hero of the story. She was the Sherpa that helped those people do it. And then finally, so many people will say to you, well, you know what? I'm interested. Send me some information. And then you don't hear anything from them. It's crickets. I'm going to help you get people to just go, I'm not only am I interested, I'm in. This is exactly what I've been looking for. This is for me. Next slide. Now, some people will say, I'm not sure I have a story. I said, really? You've never made a mistake in your life? What are you, Darby or Zachariah? These guys that ever make mistakes? What happened? Most of us mortals have made mistakes. And here's the takeaway. When I gave my TEDx talk, the TEDx coach said, your mess is your message. So I will help you figure out, what is your story? Did you just fall into this? Or was there some passion behind it? And when people know your story, they want to know more about you. Next. So as I said, this typical case study, which is black and white, lots of facts and figures, is not anything that people really remember. But here's our Wizard of Oz moment next. We're going to turn it into a case story. And a case story has 4 parts to it. If we go back to the story I gave with Rose, we described the exposition, the who, what, where, when. We described Maria, how old she was, how long she'd been struggling. Then we went into her problem of not just the weight issue, but how it is affecting her emotionally, depressed, not going out. Then what Rose's solution was. And then the key to that was the resolution. What is Maria's life like after working with Rose for 3 months? Most people don't tell good stories, or if they do, they don't have a resolution to it. Imagine if the Wizard of Oz ended with Dorothy and the balloon. The end. But no, there's this great scene where she's saying, oh my God, there's no place like home, and you were there, and you were there. All of that resolution is what makes people go, oh, that's what I want. I want that feeling in that life after this solution. In the case of what Darby and Zachariah did, I want to know what it feels like to have people waiting in line for me to sign my book. I want to be able to tell people I'm an author. That's the resolution to the story that they tell of people they've helped. How do people see you? Are you invisible? They've never heard of you or your company? It's like going into a party and, not everyone's as attractive as Darby and Zachariah, but some of us go into a party and nobody turns and looks. We're invisible. We see someone we're attracted to. They don't even know we're in the room. So a lot of companies don't even know you're around. Now the next step up is insignificant. Actually, in the dating world, I don't know what's worse, invisible or insignificant. But in business, maybe you're a life insurance salesperson and you're talking to somebody 20 and they're like, oh, this is insignificant to me. And then you get up to the interesting rung of the ladder. Maybe you're in the dating scenario and you say, I'm interested to talk to you. I'm not ready to go out with you yet. And this is where we're in the world of you're talking to a potential client. And they're like, I'm interested. Let me think about it. And then you go, and you know why you're stuck there in the friend zone at work? Because you haven't given an emotional story that's made them get out of their logic mind. And so I will help you get out of I'm interested to I'm in. And then you get up to intriguing. Now, in the dating world, maybe you paint a picture, as you told the story of how I helped Speedo. I intrigued them with painting a picture of a fashion show with fashion models wearing it around a pool and Michael Phelps. And irresistible, we know what that is. We can't stop thinking about people who are texting them all the time. And then business-wise, these are people who are clients. They love you already. But you could start to take them for granted. So I work with you on making sure that those clients that think you're irresistible are feeling seen and heard and appreciated so that the referrals keep coming without you feeling pushy. Just to recap, you're going to get 3 steps, this roadmap from me on how to become an irresistible storyteller, which gives you the emotional connection, which causes your revenue to soar. We're going to fix your elevator pitch and turn it into an elevator story, intrigue people enough. We're going to work with you in this program to get case stories that people see themselves in. And then we're going to figure out which story to tell to which person at the right time. So they go, oh, I'm not just interested, I'm in. Next. So an elevator pitch came about because if you tell us what you could do in the length of an elevator ride, let's just put an X through that. Next. Let's turn this into an elevator story. And I know, is it Maurice, like this concept. So what does an elevator story look like? Well, next up is Next slide, please. We're going to fix someone's elevator pitch if they like today. Give you a little sample of what this is. Obviously, I can't fix everything for everyone, but this will give you the tip of the iceberg of what's available for you to walk out of here so that you're working out with better skills. Next slide. There are really 5 steps to this. You're going to have to click every time I speak, Zachariah. The first one is, you know how, next, salespeople, coaches, consultants, financial advisors struggle to not be seen as a commodity. They're drowning in a sea of sameness. Everyone thinks what they do is like everybody else. I'm known as the pitch whisperer, and I teach them how to tell stories that make them irresistible. And after working with me, next, their revenue takes off because they're no longer leaving money on the table. They're closing sales left and right by telling stories. Now, the mistake most people make on an elevator pitch is, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm an accountant, I'm a coach, I'm a this, I'm a that. In this, it's conversational. Your whole goal here is to intrigue people enough to say, wow, Darby, that's interesting, tell me more. The program is the Revenue Rockstar Mastery. It's 10 short lessons. I've designed it so you could watch it in 10 minutes a day for 10 days, and you get a little quiz after each one to make sure you've resonated with it, and then as you saw, that certificate. So if you look at all these bonuses, they all add up to $4,500 worth of value. And clearly, that's on the conservative side. If you're looking for results and you're selling something that's at a $2,500 or more fee, then my goal is to get you, a couple of clients within the 8-week program so that your return on investment is automatically made. And you're only closing 2 out of qualified calls you're getting 10, but they could all afford it. They all need it. And you're only getting 2 to say yes. I'm going to get you to close 6 out of 10. We're going to get up that. That's the big promise of working with me. Any questions on how this could work or what the next steps are? Just click on that link and fill in some few questions, and we can have a chat one-on-one, see if this is something that can help you.
All right. Any questions we have in the chat? Questions for John? That was interesting, John, having to click next every time.
Is there an email that people can reach out to you as well? We've got a lot of people that signed up for the replay of this.
Have them go to that form.
Just to that form?
Yeah, because I don't want to get a bunch of emails in my inbox. I want to be able to have knowledge of what their business is, what they're currently doing, and then they can book in time to have a conversation with me. Bless you. That's better than having a bunch of people email me from a replay. So go to that link, johnlivesay.com/revenue rockstar. Fill out the form, book in some time, and I can answer your questions on the call.
Perfect. Well, if there's no questions for John, thank you so much for speaking to our group at Jarvis Underground. I love what you do, and I love the storytelling piece. We have been playing around and integrating, as you've seen. You and I play together on Jarvis. The AI tool, this is a crucial piece to that. So I love it that John came on and was able to speak to you guys. I hope that you guys reach out to him and potentially work with him. So
thanks, everybody. Thanks, Darby. Thanks, Zachariah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, y'all.